I'm going to read a small part of a letter or a memorandum from the 30th of December 2013. I'm reading a part of the memorandum because I don't work for the Oberoi anymore and I'm not supposed to have access to this information, but I saved it. I thank you all, the assets of the Oberoi Group, for your relentless efforts that became shield against all negative factors, helped us toil through time, and made the group extraordinary. However, all these honors and achievements have raised the expectations of our guests and other stakeholders. We need to achieve more and more, provide better and better guest experiences in the coming years. The new year will bring its own mix of success and challenges. Our focus and strategy should remain clear: enhance guest experience, increase profitability, and eliminate all waste. I recognize the fact that you're all the best professionals in your field and are poised to become a business leader by transforming your professional skills and expertise. Though there is ample evidence that you're on the right path, but there is much more work to do, and there may be further challenges ahead in this direction. I once again appreciate all your great work this year, showing trust and taking pride in the company. I have such great confidence in our future because of you, and know that you can do much more for our guests than anyone else. Please enjoy with family and friends during these happy hours, and let us get right back to the path to make 2014 a happy, better, and more successful 2013. This letter to me today is my management Bible, and also an ode for my love and respect for Mr. Mukherji, the quiet, reasonable backbone of wisdom that maketh the brand Oberoi. How do I make the sacrilege of introducing you, sir? For you cannot be introduced. You are the Oberoi we call home, the Oberoi we love, and the Oberoi we keep coming back to. Mr. Kaul, may I please request you to conduct this fireside chat? Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me? I first want to thank Ranga to energize everybody, because after all this Guru Charan Das, branding, Swiggy, probably by now nobody would have energy to listen to me. So thank you, Ranga. Yes, Rajiv.
You've been listening all day, so I'm glad you got. Right. Well, thank you, Mr. Mukherji. It's really wonderful to have you here. And, Mr. Mukherji has been, I think he took over as managing director in 2003, because I remember that was the time when I was leaving. So I remember the dates. It was about 2003. So last 20 years, he's been literally Mr. Oberoi's right-hand man. And I think today what we're going to try and do is, it's a unique opportunity for us to really decode, the success of Oberoi's. And because we have somebody in our midst today who has not just been witness to it, but he was actually, part of the team and part of the core team that made it happen. So we are looking forward to an interesting session ahead. So, Mr. Mukherji, my first question to you is that as you look back at your 50 years plus at Oberoi Hotels, as you reminisce, did you ever believe you would go so far?
I think,
And I just want to complete my question. Apparently, Rai Bahadur did, because he saw something in you very early on, which I think everybody would be really interested in knowing. And because you were groomed by him very, very early on, which was very unusual.
Well, my first interaction with Rai Bahadur was 1968, July 1968. Probably that's about 54 years. 54 years. And during my working life, I think half of my life I worked with Rai Bahadur and half is with Mr. Pierre. So probably I can tell you that what I have seen both world in Oberoi, When I met Rai Bahadur first, I think Rai Bahadur completed his 35 years of business life. That's the time I met him. And he was a very long-term player. I think he is somebody where, I don't know, possibly today's day and age, whether it is possible or not, but he has extreme risk appetite. I think he always used to tell me that, I feel I must do it or die. So there is no midway. So I have to make it or I am finished. That's how he started his life. So that's the reason why probably Oberoi was never out of the vulnerability on financial front. So that always has been a issue to handle, and probably it showed a lot of patience in Rai Bahadur to manage that situation in his initial years. When I met Rai Bahadur, I used to come here to do the audit of the company. Company was not like as you see, EIH Limited, as you see. I think it was really fragmented, many companies, like Oberoi Grand was a company, Oberoi Palm Beach was a company, the East India Hotel only had the lease of Kashmir property, which was Oberoi Palace. East India was really became somebody when we built this hotel. And so thereby, East India never had a huge capital on which this project could have been built. But the original cost of this hotel probably will looks like anybody's yearly earning 4.20 crore. That was the original cost of building this hotel. Probably we must have invested 1,400 crore subsequently, And I think the major...
And the 4 crores, I remember there was something about an IMF loan which we had got.
Sorry?
There was something about an IMF loan.
Yeah,
I will come
to that. I think
because for years we had to give a special rate to World Bank.
If I see from zero to what he achieved was, I think the bringing in the foreign brand into India. I think it is the Oberoi who showed the courage of bringing foreign brand into India, and everybody else used those foreign brand based on whatever Oberoi brought in. For instance, Intercontinental, this hotel, when it was built, it was Oberoi Intercontinental. Many of you must have seen that Oberoi Intercontinental. When we built the Bombay Hotel, it was Oberoi Sheraton, and that's how, he brought that. And along with this foreign branding, we also been able to bring in foreign capital. I don't think in India there was any company which had foreign equity in those days, which EIH had foreign equity, apart from foreign funding in terms of loan. I think Rai Bahadur, when he started his career, he actually started from 1938, and that was in Oberoi Grand. And what I saw in Rai Bahadur is that he didn't have much money, but he was a very shrewd negotiator because he knew that he has to become owner of property without any money. Now for Oberoi Grand, which he actually took over from the then Aratoons or Stephens, I paid them back. after I joined, which was in 1973. I joined as an employee in 1972, and the money that he borrowed in 1938, I paid back in 1973.
Was there a rate of interest?
Huh?
Was there a rate of interest?
No, he was paying the interest regularly.
But not the principal.
Not the principal. Principal money was settled when I joined the group. I think if I leave those apart, I think because what exactly happened is I was listening to the brand. Now, yes, brand is very important, but early days, if you see that most of the companies, especially pre-independence, I think it is the family who actually started the company, and the family name used to be the brand. So look for Tata, family name was the brand. Look for Godrej, look for anybody on the pre-independence date. Now, why this happened? I think there was a purpose behind this. Till about, if I remember the date correctly, till about 3rd April 1970, the Indian businesses were managed through a system called managing agency, which was a British legacy. So this managing agent used to, basically today's promoters was the managing agent of those time. So managing agent used to manage the business, keeping the risk on the owner of the business. So Oberoi Hotel, as you see today, was the managing agent of all the companies or properties that Rabadur had. When in 1970, when this managing agency system was abolished in India, everybody, not only Rabadur, everybody converted the name into the brand, because that was a means of earning. Now, why this brand was necessary? Brand was necessary as in branding session you saw that the value of a brand, that you have to bring the product perfect to have the really good brand. But those days it was that you need a name for the product to sell it. So it was really the Oberoi name that, how do you sell Oberoi Grand? You have to give it a name. Just Grand doesn't work. So Oberoi Grand. So same as, if you see any Tata company those time, whether it is Tata Aviation or Tata whatever, Tata Steel, so it was based on the family name. Later on, I think, as Professor Gurucharan Das was saying, that 1991 was the real independence in India. I think the concept of branding, and that I need to work on brand, companies started realizing that the importance of brand. And that's when all this kind of, what the brand identity should be, what the brand message should be, all these things started coming, So, really speaking, brand was nothing but a name earlier. Brand became identity subsequently. This is.
I think, Mr. Mukherjee, sorry to interrupt you, but I think in 1986, when the Oberoi Mumbai was founded, that is,
No.
it opened in October 1986,
Yeah.
and that is the time it opened as the Oberoi.
Yeah.
So that is the time when the brand was really coined, because I remember years later we had brand identity manual. All this was done by
I will come to that.
some
I will
Hong Kong
come to
agency,
that.
So it was done.
Now, during Bahadur's time, I know this will, I will cover that. During Bahadur's time, I think it was really the name that was being thought of. What Mr. P.R.S. Oberoi did, I think he really created a brand as an identity. That's why you are referring to the Oberoi Delhi, because he understood professionalism in the brand. I think the whatever professionalism in the brand Oberoi, whether it is a brand manual, whether it is a system, it is a process that he was talking about purple as a color. Now, what color should be, how brand gets admitted. I think as far as Oberoi is concerned, it is all Mr. P.R.S. Oberoi.
Yes, yes. No, but he was very
I
particular
think-
because at that time you had a font,
Absolutely.
a typical Oberoi font.
Font size,
and
how
you
it
had-
should
all
look.
of that was there. So.
And
You would remember
during
that, yeah.
during the business, I think Mr. P.R.S. Oberoi and I think P.R.S. Oberoi, Mr. Tiki Oberoi, and Rai Bahadur. This was the real family team that was running this. And in terms of really the core business, it was Rai Bahadur along with Mr. Tiki till such time he was alive. Mr. Biki was somebody who was looking into the hotel as a operation, and hotel branding, the product. I think product was being looked after by Mr. P.R.S. Oberoi, and business. Now, when I say business, the difference is that Rai Bahadur, every action, he will think that how it gets converted into my bottom line. If I give you a live example, in 1982, I think that was NAM conference.
1982, yes.
1982, it was probably
Non-aligned, nice.
NAM conference. The first time after this hotel was built, first time there was a massive renovation.
Renovation.
Okay, many of the suites was named
Correct.
about the against the name
Mubarak
of
Mahal,
name of
presidential
the
suite.
presidents of various countries, and in that renovation. Now we did good business, and NAM was a successful event for India. And one day, Rai Bahadur took me through this corridor, and if you go from Nilgiri to that other side of the corridor, where you see the staircase, which is going down, and that time it was Mughal room. So if you go to that staircase, in the first landing, you will see a window, big window.
Yes.
Now, when this hotel was built, that window was not as big as it stands now, and it was a steel window. And Mr. Biki, when he handled the renovation, he made it a very large window so that a lot of natural light comes, and then he made it with thick Burma teak, it looks nice. So Rai Bahadur took me there, and he said that, find out how much this wood cost. And actually, he made me to find out the cost of that actual wood and what this window costed. Then he said, ask Biki that has Mughal room earn that kind of extra money. So this is his mindset, and that's what I mean, that he everything he will look at it as a business, because he is the man who has set up this business.
Right, right.
I don't know whether Arjun is there. I will tell you, they have gone.
No, Arjun is very much there. He's all ears.
Oh.
He's all ears.
It is about your father, Arjun. Now, these are all, I think, tidbits, not really important. I think both the son of Rai Bahadur was having very expensive habit. Okay? And very expensive habit. And once, this is something I have witnessed, so I can tell you. Once, Arjun's father spent some extraordinary money on some, I would say, unnecessary reason, okay? And Ramadur called him. And I am the one who has actually made up, and I said, this is what Mr. Tiki has taken. What can I do? So he called Mr. Tiki and he said that, Tiki, have you taken this money? He said, yes. So he said, you know what this money means? And it took how many years for me to earn it? So he looked at him and he said that, unfortunately you didn't have a rich father. I have a rich father. So that is that. Which is also true. What his father said, that yes, you didn't have a rich father. So why I am saying this story is that Rai Bahadur is somebody who has built his fortune. And like any other family, the children took it upwards from that platform that he has built.
Right.
So it has to be seen from the perspective of the way they have handled their life.
No, that's
Yeah, that is
Absolutely,
the most important part between these two. Now,
Mr. Mukherjee, forgive me for interrupting.
Please.
I have some questions.
Yes, please,
because I'm
please.
very keen to get answers to those questions.
Please.
So therefore I'm going to request you. So if you could just help us understand Rai Bahadur's management style and Mr. Oberoi's management style. 2, 3
I think
things which were.
I just did the preamble, because you first need to understand from the perspective of from which both this man is coming. And there you will see the management style. Now, I actually started interacting with Rai Bahadur when I was 23 years old. Don't know anything of all these complexities and all that. And some of you may not know, somebody may know. Actually, I'm a chartered accountant, but I started my career in kitchen, because it is Rai Bahadur who actually made me to go and stand in the kitchen. And I was that time thinking that what the hell I am doing in this company? Why am I not looking for some other better job? Because there was no chartered accountant in the corporate office. I am the only one who is in the corporate office. And what the hell? And every day evening, he will, because that time he was staying in Calcutta, and every day evening he will call me and ask me what I have done or what I have seen, and then actually explain to me that, what I have actually should have seen and what I have actually seen. I think that is the biggest quality in his management style, because he actually treats everybody as he is the teacher, others are learning. For Mr. Oberoi, I felt that, I'm sure all of you must be feeling that, it is more of a dictating management. And if there
we
is
never noticed that. No.
Huh? No, I don't have to agree. No, please, I think I must say this, that what I am saying is what I have realized. None of you have to agree or disagree with me. I don't want any controversy in this, but I only saying that what I have seen. So I have seen Mr. Oberoi is more of a dictating position, and if you are a keen learner, then you can learn from him. But that is your own effort, It is not that like Rai Bahadur. Now, I have learned from Rai Bahadur. So it was very easy for me to understand Mr. Oberoi and take the learning from him also. Probably it was not easy for many of you, and you only saw that because when I joined the company, I saw P.R.S. Oberoi as a enigma. And people will say, unka samne mat jao. As if, as if, you know, that old saying of घोड़े के पीछे अब बॉस का सामने जाना ही नहीं. So that's how P.R.S. Oberoi was being cheated. Okay, but I think the most easygoing person was Tiki Oberoi.
Yes.
You know, I think friendly, inviting, and I think more easygoing, you know, not as opposed to P.R.S. Oberoi.
No, I mean, some
Now,
of us were
coming
also,
back to other part of the management, apart from this dictating and the, I think Rai Bahadur is more of a country innkeeper, where he is working with son and daughter and everybody. अरे भाई तुम ये करो, तुम वो करो. But Mr. P.R.S. Oberoi brought the entire professionalism. And that's where all this structuring and everything has happened. I can tell you that, you know, when I joined this company, and very soon company was in such a trouble that Rai Bahadur had to tell me that, you know, I will pay your salary in 2 installments. And this is a honest thing that happened. I had to tell my people that, you know, we'll give you. So something now, something tomorrow. But that professionalism, when it came, it was not possible. Okay, I think that is definitely another difference in the management style. I think the most management style difference is that with Rai Bahadur, when you are going with the proposal, then you have to really be very, very clear on the financials of that. But with P.R.S. Oberoi, you can get away if your presentation is good, financials can be better. Okay?
but you know, Mr. Mukherjee, some of us also had an opportunity to work with Rai Bahadur briefly. And you know, it was what we found was it was very, very uplifting. You finished a meeting with Rai Bahadur, and you know, I used to always tell my people that you enter the room, you're 6 feet tall. You finish the meeting, you feel 10 feet tall.
Absolutely.
You know, that was something amazing about Rai Bahadur. And the other thing which I'd like your comments on it, that we noticed that Rai Bahadur had the art of getting an extraordinary performance from an ordinary person.
Absolutely.
Mr. Bicky always hired extraordinary people, or mostly hired extraordinary people, but he did not always get an extraordinary performance from them.
I don't know whether he has always hired extraordinary people. I'm not too sure about it.
Well, with few exceptions in the room, yes, I can.
No, I'm not meaning anybody in this room, but I can tell you that, you know, there are many people who has come into this company and pretended to be the extraordinary, but never looked that way. But let's not get into those parts. But it is true that whoever Rai Bahadur has recruited, I think he has made him extraordinary.
Yeah, I made them, yes.
I think that is the most important thing. That whatever is the caliber you have, I think you get 10 times more from him. That is the.
Mr. Mukherjee, if I may just ask you a little cheeky question. You know, so majority of the senior managers, they had their ups and downs with Mr. Oberoi, with Mr. P.R.S. Oberoi. But Mr. Mukherjee only had up and up and up. Just share with us some behind the scenes secrets.
There is a saying that marriages are done in heaven. So probably between me and Mr. Oberoi, something happened in the heaven, okay? And that blessing has come.
Right.
But in seriousness, I can tell you one thing, that yes, it is long lasting, and not only PRS Oberoi. I think that almost 24 years that I have spent with Rabadur, from my beginning of the career, I think I had the most good time with Rabadur. I think one is, of course, I had the advantage of knowing the organization in entirety, because when I entered, it was very small, and the reason I got into the operation, so that Rabadur wanted me to understand what happens, because why kitchen? Because kitchen, and I spent two places, kitchen and engineering. And if you see that in hotel, I think these are the two most spender, biggest spender, and your success depends on these two. Whether if your kitchen doesn't produce the proper cost, then your guests are dissatisfied. If your engineering doesn't work properly, then your guests are dissatisfied. And these two really, in a financial statement, though of course I'm not talking of today's financial statement, but those days these were human. Of course, employee cost today is a big thing, but those days it was not, because India was suffering from so much unemployment that you can
Yeah, it
pick
was
up
different,
and
yeah.
take it. I'm talking of 55 years back. Where was this? I don't think in hotel industry there used to be anybody. Somebody asked me, who? I think Ranga. Ranga asked me during the break that was there anybody in your family who was in hotel? I said, you ask everybody in this room that was there anybody in your family working in hotel? Probably everybody will say no, because I'm sure everybody's answer will be no, nobody has, because hotel was never seen as for the educated and others as a place for work.
Yeah, it was not a preferred.
No,
this
it
thing.
was
But-
always, when I always saw that it is either from the manual people, menial people from Bihar and VP. And what used to be seen is that how much muscle strength you have, nothing else. Rest we will train you. The training that time, because all these hotel, forget this hotel, you look at Maidens, you look at Grand, you look at any other hotel which is a 3-4 floors, none of them had any elevator for the back of the house. Whatever elevator was there only for the guest. So all these room service people or engineering, housekeeping, everybody used to carry things up. So that's why those days training was that, hold the tray, first two bricks, go up, come down. Then 4 bricks, go up, come down. When you reach to 10 bricks, then you are done.
Then confirmed, that's one thing.
You are done. That was the hotel. So obviously,
Right. Mr. Mukherjee, what, just a comment on this, that basically I think Mr. Oberoi saw that you were not able to get the best talent. And that is why I think for OCLD and OSHM, he really made sure that he picked talented people. And
I think hotel, of course, is a very special industry.
And my question to you is this, really, that, what do you think makes Oberoi managers different, if at all, from others?
First of all, I must say one thing, that yes, OSHM, the Oberoi School of Hotel Management, is the origin. And that was really Rabadur's thought. It was not really Biki's thought.
The first batch when we
First.
started.
And OCLD is a transformation from OSH. Nothing new has
Right,
happened.
right.
Nothing new has happened. But India was always, lack in skill. Even today, there are talks of reskilling and all that. So skills has always been an issue in India. And hotel, as we saw, that we cannot get anybody other than, actually nobody educated was coming there. That's why the Oberoi School of Hotel Management, OSHM, was built. Now, what made it different? I think the difference is that there is always a first mover advantage. So when we first moved, I think we got the best of the people. Okay, that's number one. Number two, by then, in Oberoi, we knew that what we want, I think if Ragini remembers his days, even Nonil is unfortunately not there, even remember his days, then you people were being shown the film in this class that what you can be. And am I correct? Yeah. So what you can be. And that's how the people of your caliber.
No, I would like, if you allow me, I'd like to share something. I was just remembering this because I once asked Mr. Oberoi, that our batch and other batches too, our batch was about 16 people and 12 of them shared a profile that they came from public school background.
Yeah.
And, and also, interestingly, that their parents were working in government service. And so I remember as a young GM having lunch with Mr. Oberoi at La Rochelle. I asked him, I said, Mr. Oberoi, this can't be a coincidence. And so what exactly was the design? And he said something which I always remember. He said, Rajiv, I can make a hotelier out of anybody, but I cannot make a gentleman. And that is the difference. He always was hiring gentlemen hoteliers. And honestly, if you come to think of it, what separated Oberoi managers from other managers for decades was that I think I'd like to believe we had gentlemen hoteliers.
No, but I tell you one thing, probably none of you is aware of this. I think Rai Bahadur, when I joined this company, Rai Bahadur actually took me to join OSHM.
OSHM, yes. You mentioned
Because that time he said that, hoteliering is not, you don't need Einstein to be hotelier. What's happening? Some music there.
I think, can you just tell the crooner is rehearsing? She can wait, she can do it later.
So, he said that, you get intelligent boys and girls, and most important is teach them the finance. And that's why he said we should take chartered accountant because they are already financially literate. Because there is nothing you can do till such time you understand your action transformed into bottom line. That was the important thing. And that is the reason why subsequently many of those have seen that finance for non-finance is something that we started, because really speaking, what was lacking in OSHM was real teaching on finance. Am I correct, Dagini? Yeah.
So what would you say is the SS Mukherji mantra for success?
I don't think SS Mukherji has any mantra for success, but I'm sitting in front of all successful people. Everybody has got this success having some mantra or the other, including you. Okay, so these mantras are different to
But you have a
people
mool mantra, you know?
depend on the circumstance, depends on what you want to be, and depend on where you are. I think when I joined this company, not only this company, when I was a student, I saw my father, I saw my uncle. Everybody in those days was, somebody in their area. And from there, I got this idea that I have to be somebody. I don't know what, but somebody. In our family, there was nobody as chartered accountant. I got into chartered accountancy. I became chartered accountant. So probably ultimate success is that, I think two. One is that listen to your heart, which I have, and be honest to yourself. And if you are honest to yourself, then you are honest to the whole world. And that is really I follow.
I see. So you were MD and vice chairman for nearly 2 decades, you know. And what would you consider as your lasting contribution and legacy?
In a corporate world, I don't believe that any particular individual has any contribution, legacy of his own. I think it is the contribution of everybody who was there at that team, at that time. I think the period in which I was there, whoever worked with me, I think everybody is, whether good or bad, probably bad is to me and good is to everybody else. And whatever happened, I think many things happened. As I said that, apart from me as CEO and all that, for many years, I effectively worked as a CEO without being a CEO also. I think many things happen, and most important, and this was a transforming for the Oberoi, for which, again, I will name Ragini in this room, was the first Euro issue or foreign issue that we did.
The GDR that we did, right?
GDR.
Correct.
And that is when the first Indian company listed in the London Stock Exchange.
Correct.
It was never done before. And when I went to London Stock Exchange, of course, along with our advisor and all that, so they wanted to listen the history of what is Oberoi and all that, And finally, they said, we must give this company the registration. And they registered our shares in London Stock Exchange. Otherwise, there was no Indian company registered. After that, many companies were registered. There are many. I thought I will check. Suddenly I remember looking at Ragini, because she was, entire trip, she was with me. Thank you, Ragini. Right. What else? It says time's up.
It said time's up, but they got it wrong. It's been malfunctioning for some time. I have still 1 or 2 questions for you.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what would you say really is the Oberoi DNA of excellence? You saw this over 50 years, you saw it being transformed, you saw it being, fine-tuned. Right? So help us understand that. I think we all take great pride, Oberoi is synonymous with excellence. So what sits at the seat of this?
When I think of DNA of Oberoi as a brand, I think that's all sitting in front of me. So, DNA of everybody sitting in front, that's really the Oberoi DNA. What you people have done, I think you people have done, in one word, that superlative service. The service that you can break it up, that eye for detail or this and that, but when you are really serving a guest with wholehearted thing, then you look into everything, whether it is eye for detail or whatever. There are many instances where people were coming, his lace was open, somebody just sat down in front of him and tied the lace. So these are, it is not about tying up the lace, or it is not about getting a pan from 50 kilometers away in the middle of night because some guest wanted. I think the motto in Oberoi was that in every way I serve my guest, and really in true sense that Atiti Deva Bhava. I think it is the Oberoi who followed, others thought they are following.
Mr. Mukherjee, it was wonderful to have you here. Thank you for
very
being here,
much.
and thank you for sharing all these anecdotes.
Thank
An
you.
absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
One second, I'd like to hear.